Turning Leaf Services helps all these people who are among the most vulnerable in our community. Now, doing that requires maintaining relationships, but with the pandemic, you can't just meet like you could here. It's been a journey, and CEO and founder Barkley Engel spoke with me on Skype to explain why. Just to start things off, what is Turning Leaf Services? What do you guys do?
Well, Turning Leaf is a crisis intervention treatment organization that provides services to people living with intellectual challenge, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and mental illness.
What's sort of the backstory of Turning Leaf? How did it begin?
Yeah, well, about 15, 16 years ago, I was working in the field, working with people with what we refer to as dual diagnosis, those people that have an intellectual challenge as well as a mental illness. And these are folks that largely would fall through the gaps in our system. We realized that there is a different way to engaging this part of the population. And based on that, we started Turning Leaf. Really what we wanted to do was approach these people that were hurting from a place of values. There's a set of values that we want to make sure are present throughout the entire organization. Everyone here that works at Turning Leaf has to have unconditional acceptance. And what it really means is that no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, we'll accept you no matter what.
So the pandemic sort of, I guess, I don't want to say surprised us. We sort of saw it coming, but it did definitely change things. How did it sort of change the way you guys work? What happened?
Well, I like that question. It changed how we worked in a variety of different ways. Behind the scenes, we realigned the entire organization so that we could maintain services to those people that are vulnerable and marginalized. Their lifestyles don't necessarily change based on the existence of a pandemic. They're in pain. They use and self-medicate regardless of whether or not there's a universal or international health risk. The other thing that was very notable in how services changed was now the services that go into these treatment facilities across Manitoba and Saskatchewan, they look much more like a medical facility than ever. Now in the field, in the community, when we provide outpatient services to people, that also looks different. But there are many people around us that are using those N95s or using homemade masks. So we don't look that unusual, but all of our people are required to use that.
How's the pandemic sort of impacted the people you do serve? How they've been sort of coping or handling these changes?
Yeah, we tried to do some projection around what the risk would look like for those folks. I mean, we made the assumption that this category of folks is going to be incredibly high risk. What we saw was that the risk of infection has yet to be demonstrated. We're seeing something else. We are seeing incident reports or incidents wherein people are engaging in experiencing mental illness symptoms. They continue to be on the rise. Self-harm, ideas about hurting themselves, that tends to be consistently increasing. So the stress of the situation, I think, is very present in these people's lives. But I think we found that the patients or the participants have been immensely responsive. They all get it, and they have been taking care of each other in the field, which has been a remarkable thing to watch.
Oh, that's really neat. Do you have an interesting anecdote of that, or?
Yeah, in one particular instance, we've had this one particular person that comes to mind. He lives independently in the community. We can call him Jason, for example. Jason struggles with a mental illness. He also struggles with something called fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. And so when we went to talk to Jason about this new invisible threat that COVID is, at first it was difficult for Jason to appreciate that what he had to do every day needed to change a little bit. But what we did find was he was very, very good at looking out for his neighbors in his apartment block. So he would knock on the door and he would check in with them and say, make sure that you're staying safe. He became the good neighbor that was constantly checking in on people. So we saw a really interesting inversion of people's perception of this person. And it was really cool to see because there was more to Jason than meets the eye. And I think that's a really cool kind of phenomenon we're seeing.